Hey, what's up, baseball fans? DFS 5-pack, Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here to talk about the night slate. Biggest slate of the year so far. Click that thumbs up button. Let's all hit it hard tonight. I think it's a great night, too, from a strategic standpoint. Want to go GPPs or do you want to go cash games? Because there's a really, really obvious cash game build that everybody's going to do. If you don't love it, and we'll talk it out, I think it's a great opportunity to go in the other direction.
Amen to all that.
Yeah, after we did the longer members only video breaking down every game, I am team GPP tonight for sure. And I go back and forth on baseball depending about how I feel about the cash bill that day. So excited to talk this one out with you, my man. Just to reiterate, guys, we got a chat button up now on the website. The link to the website is below. If you got any questions, let us know. We'll stick with our typical layout. We got a little special going on monthly memberships today. Buy a monthly membership, you get access to the Discord chat, you get the write-ups, you get all the members only videos. Send you a $25 reimbursement. You get your first month for just over $12. Link to the website is below. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. So let's talk about pitching tonight. Now, early in the day, there are four pitchers who are coming in relatively high ownership. Frankie Montes of the Oakland Athletics is a guy that we want to talk about, and he's coming in as what appears to be the highest owned chalk SB2 of the night. And it makes a lot of sense to both of us. Now, I think he's definitely a look in cash games, and I think you should give him a real good attention. But also, if you like him, it's okay to roll with a chalkier pitcher in GPPs. And Montez is going to be popular tonight, matched up with the Detroit Tigers team that is, despite sweeping Houston, not a very good baseball team. They're without Nomar Mazara right now. They do strike out a lot. I think they're currently ranked around the 7th or 8th for the highest K rate in baseball, but they're only, small percentage points away from being the highest strikeout team. He's very affordable at 7,300. And the guy has good stuff. He's dealt with a couple of injuries over the last couple of years. He had a bad first start. I think it was taken on the Dodgers. No shame in that one, but he looked really good in start number 2. For me, this is good chalk. And we've seen some bad chalk pitchers as recently as last night, but I like him a lot better than anything we had at our disposal last night.
Yeah, I'm a huge Montes fan. I also like picking on Detroit. So I like him a lot here. I don't really care that he's getting a lot of love. You can fade him if you want in tournaments. I don't think he's a must in cash games with like 5 or 6 guys you could realistically make a case for. This is the type of slate, especially if you're going to get different in bats and tournaments. You just play whatever pitchers you want, and you get different offensively. There's a few different options you can look at. I wouldn't call Montes a lock by any means, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think I used him once against the Dodgers in his first start. He's very affordable at 7,300. There's nothing for me not to like here, except that he's getting some love. Oh, well.
Yeah, it's okay to eat chalk pitching if you like the chalk pitching. Like I told you, I never loved any of the pitchers last night. So, I rode chalk, and most of the chalk was bad outside of Sean Manaea. And I kind of bowed out at most contests just because I couldn't get that comfortable feeling. I feel a lot more comfortable with Montez than I do with any pitcher that was on the slate last night. And another point, bullet point number 2, I like a guy like Montez following up a guy like Manaea. Manaea was very good last night, but these are two substantially different pitchers. So the Detroit lineup sees kind of more of a soft tossing lefty, and then they get to a right-hander with completely different type of stuff in that before. I like that for him tonight as well.
Same.
All right, next up. So let's talk cash games chalk build, and you will be, quote unquote, finding Nemo in a lot of lineups tonight. The New York Mets are in Coors Field this evening. They are going to be big time chalk tonight because they're in Coors. They're going up against Chichi Gonzalez, who we've seen in baseball. I think the guy's like, a 10-year veteran. We know he's not a very good pitcher. And the New York Mets are like, they're not priced to be in Coors Field tonight. So if you are going to play cash games tonight, expect to go hard on the New York Mets. And if you want to be different, every other stack in baseball is going to be low owned because of how chalky the Mets are going to be due to their prices and being in Coors Field. Nemo's probably my favorite piece of the Mets tonight. He's actually hitting well. A lot of these Mets hitters that are going to be chalky this evening, not playing well to start the season. Doesn't mean they won't start playing well tonight, but they haven't played well to start the year. Nimmo, on the other hand, has an OPS approaching 1,200, batting 464, averaging over 10 DK points today. He's my favorite of the chalky Mets, but just when approaching this slate tonight, just know that the New York Mets are going to be about as chalky as anything we've seen all year.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you can't play them in tournaments either if you like them that much and you have a secondary stack that's going to be underowned. You want to be different somewhere. Like, I wouldn't in tournaments use the Montes, whoever's going to be chalky SP1, 5 Met stack, chalky first baseman who we're going to bring up in a minute. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. That said, you can definitely use a couple pieces of New York. Nimmo runs. He's going to be hitting leadoff tonight. Could very potentially see 5 at-bats against Chi and the Rockies bullpen. A lot to like in all formats, but especially cash games. I'm with you.
And another thing to note, it's cold in Coors tonight. Not that you can't have big monster offensive games, but that tends to be advantage pitcher. So this is why I think I've talked myself into being a GPP player tonight, mostly staying away from the Mets. Not that you can't throw in a Brandon Nimmo or a Pete Alonso or Francisco Lindor, or whoever it is that you like into a lineup like that, but not just being all in on the New York Mets. And if they blow up in Coors, it happens. For you, as somebody who fades Coors a lot, there are nights where it blows up and you just lick your wounds and you take it to the next night. But on the nights when Coors sucks, and you can get your offense to play well, you can make real money by fading Coors.
Yeah, this is definitely a fade Coors for me in tournaments type situation.
Yeah, and that's a lot of nights for you, but this is one that, to me, I get why you're going to go full Bellman on this one and not take on the New York Mets. Again, and if they're great, they're great. But it's a strategy that you're going to use more often than not when trying to win GPPs.
Yep.
All right, next up. So let's talk about today's cover boy, Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees. And the Yankees are one of about, 5 or 6 stacks that we were slightly enticed by just being different than the New York Mets. So Michael Wacha has had his moments at the professional level, but a lot of those good minutes are years in the past, and he hasn't looked great to start the year. And the New York Yankees, while getting off to a kind of relatively slow start, have showed buying signs, specifically Gleyber Torres, who was 2 walks in the double the other day. Those are monster buying signs. He's going to be low owned like almost every player that's not a New York Met tonight. And with Francisco Lindor eating major ownership at the shortstop level, any shortstop you go after with upside like Torres is going to be very low owned.
Yeah, a lot to like about the Yankees here. The bottom bullet point, low owned in all caps, I think is so true. They're just not going to get a lot of love on this slate with the Mets, getting a ton of ownership and 14 games in play here. I like the Yankees a lot. I liked them last time out when they faced Wacha. They got to him right when he came in the game. Wacha reminds me a lot of a guy like Matt Cain, who used to be not even as good as Matt Cain, like a poor man's Matt Cain, who used to be solid, and now it's just not even close to good anymore.
Yeah, he keeps getting run, kind of like Matt Harvey. Well, Matt Harvey less deserves it. Wacha at least has some monster postseason moments. Harvey hasn't been good in 7 years or whatever it's been.
I was thinking, how do you compare Chi to a guy like Matt Harvey?
Matt Harvey's a bigger name because of just the fact that he was really good at one point. But, they're on the same level. Hell, Chi might be a better pitcher than Matt Cain.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree. At this point, I think Chi-Chi's done more to deserve a job in the Rockies rotation than Harvey's done to deserve one in the Orioles rotation.
Yeah, I do like. The more we talk it, the more I am liking the Yankees today. Again, nice hitting park. They haven't been really good to start the year, but their lineup is fentanyl levels of potent. They're good, right? Judge double-donged. Stanton hasn't really gotten it going yet this year, but we know he's got monster potential. DJ LeMahieu's been blah to start the year, but we know he can set the table. Gary Sanchez has big-time power. And anytime you can get a potent team like this with really low single-digit numbers next to him because everybody uses the Mets, I'm going to be enticed.
Same with you.
All right, so this is the chalk guy, outfielder, not first baseman, but he's chalk outfielder 2.0 today, which is Mitch Money Haniger, dirt cheap, only 3,200. He's a very good hitter. This is one of those guys that I think people forgot about. He missed a lot of time, courtesy of some injuries, so he's kind of become almost like a no-name again. Well, he's off to a nice start this year. OPS around 1,000, batting over 300, 4 home runs, including 1 in each of the doubleheaders yesterday. Late night hammer, only 3,200. I don't think it'll be quite as popular as the Finding Nemos of the world, but he's going to get love today. And he's a guy that, to me, he makes sense in all formats because of his price tag. He's low risk. definitely a good-looking cash games. But if like you like him, he's only 3,200. You know, you can win GPPs with a guy like this getting you a RBI double. You know, if the rest of your players play well.
For sure. It's more just that he takes up an outfield spot is the only reason I wouldn't lock him in tournaments. That said, he definitely looks like one of the better dollar for dollar plays on the slate. Homered in both games yesterday. He's just much better than a $3,200 player. I mean, DK pricing guys up recently. You know, he's way too cheap.
Yeah, this is one of those things like if you ate chalk pitchers today, you can eat chalk Haniger in the outfield if you're using, say, a contrarian stack and whatever stack that is you choose to use. You don't have to only play low-owned guys, but if you're using a low-owned stack, you can throw a Nimmo and a Haniger and like stacky or like chalky pitchers in there. You don't have to be all contrarian.
For sure.
All right, last up, lower-owned first baseman Matt Olson. Man, the A's are playing well right now. Look what they've done over the last week. I like them as another lower-owned team tonight.
And they've got good hitters. I think hitters that are under the radar, that are probably less respected than they should be. And Olson's a perfect example. Got going in a big way last night, walked twice at a long home run, also flew out to one of the deepest parts of the park. The A's are playing well, as you mentioned. Olson's very affordable at 4,400. Urena really struggles versus lefties, whether he's putting them on base or giving up power. Oakland is emerging as one of my, if not my favorite stack of the night, and Olson is my top piece, so I like him a ton here.
I think Urena has like 9 walks through 2 starts. He's not pinpoint with his location right now, and that can equal, it can equal walks, and he gets out of the game quickly, and you get to that Detroit bullpen, which is nothing to be scared of. Or he can start missing across the plate day, try to overcorrect those walks, and he can give up a couple of bombs to guys like Olson, who clearly got it going last night. Oakland had a really, really slow first 5 or 6 days, and they looked completely lost. But since then has been rake city. I think they've scored 6 or 7 runs plus in 5 or 6 straight games right now, so they're playing good baseball. And every team not named the New York Mets will be too low-owned today. I'm thinking the Oakland guys are all 10% max, which is a relatively low-owned stack, and it could be closer to 5.
Agree.
So lots of different ways to go today. There's a very obvious cash game build. And almost anything else you do outside of, the New York Mets is going to be relatively low-owned. There are guys like Josh Bell who are still getting love again today, or Mitch Haniger, as we mentioned. But it's a great day to be contrarian. And if Coors blows up, it blows up. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Amen to all of that.
All right, y'all. Good luck today. Click that thumbs up button. We'll talk to you about some NBA here in a little while.
Thanks, guys.